Welcome to episode 2 of the Daily Smell Podcast. We try not to block everybody. We are eating pizza after a hard day's work. And who are we here with? Let's start with ladies first, and then we'll go around the table. Luckily, you have your mouth full, so that's good timing.
Okay, I will start. 52 seconds.
Yep. 1, 2. Sorry. Yeah, you can also flip me off on the podcast.
Don't worry.
Yep.
So,
It's too polite to do that.
true. Hello, my name is Jonna. I am from the Netherlands and I'm 20 years old.
Okay. And how did you happen to end up in South Korea?
Well, whole story.
We'll start with the. Actually, we're going to skip that. We're going to skip that. That's a bad question to start with first because we're going around the table. Second time doing this. I'm still kind of stupid. And introduce yourself to everybody.
It's okay. I can speak English well.
That's fine. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Gain. I'm Korean.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you.
I'm Cesar or Cesar, and I'm from Mexico.
He says Caesar because I called him Caesar. So that's my bad. Alrighty. Well, I'll kind of continue around the table, but also just feel free to talk and just kind of talk over each other. It doesn't matter. But we're all here, and this is, so we're in Ulsan, South Korea? Yeah. Ulsan, South Korea. And this is the JK Equestrian Grounds, is what this is?
Training park.
Training park. Oh, it's a training park. My bad. Yeah. I got too fancy with it. And so at this training park, we're all WorldPackers. Most of us are WorldPackers. Are you a WorldPacker too? No? Local? Cool. Never mind. Some of us are WorldPackers, some of us are locals. And what WorldPackers allows you to do is kind of travel around the world, and as you're traveling, exchange work for food, pizza, and for room and board. And as long as you're working, say, 8 hours a day, depending on what you're doing, that's what you get to do. And so with that, that's what Cesar and Jonna, everybody fucks their name up. It's not just me. That's what we're here for, is to just kind of exchange work, get to know South Korea. And so with that, why did you choose South Korea? How did you end up in South Korea?
How I ended up? Well, I always wanted to go to South Korea. Because I got interested through K-drama, etc. of course. And I wanted to do it cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a way of still doing what I love, and that is getting to know the locals. So I thought WorldPackers volunteering right away, and so I went on first on Workaway, but I didn't find a lot what I liked. Then I found WorldPackers, and I found more, and it was a lot of Airbnb and that kind of stuff. And I was like, no, just find horses. I have 8 years of horse riding experience, so I was like, horses, that's the way to go. And then I came here.
And how long have you been here in South Korea?
Well, it's been a bit of on and off, but I would say in general 6 months.
Wow, that's kind of neat. It's a good country to be in too. So far, it's very friendly. Yeah. Better than Japan so far. As far as Japan, but South Korea is better than you. From there, how did you end up working here?
My university study horse.
Okay.
And I'm graduated and come here and choose something. Student.
I gotcha. Okay. And were you always interested in horses? Was that something from a young age you loved horses?
Yes.
Okay.
I love.
Very cool. That's somehow it's been a theme of the podcast so far. I didn't mean that to be the first 2 episode themes. It's just horse related. So that's a fun fact for you guys. But okay. And Mr. Cesar, you said to me earlier off camera as we were talking politics, as you know, Hispanic people and as Mexican people and American people do, you talk politics. But you said to me that you were a lawyer.
Yes, I am a lawyer.
How does a lawyer end up in South Korea?
Well, he's sick of doing what he does because he feels he's not helping anyone but the rich get richer. So that I would say that's kind of where it started. I was tired of 13 years of practice. I needed, I don't know if to call it a break or to just get out of it.
Yeah.
Then as we talked about politics were very mixed in Mexico. So I bought a ticket for Japan, no way back. When I bought the ticket, I was just looking for, and this is some of the crazy things that I have, is that I was just looking for someone to teach me about lucid dreaming.
Did they teach you?
Not yet. No. I haven't found, like, I do it on my own. I keep practicing on my own, but I'm still to find a teacher on that. But the funny thing is that when I bought the ticket, then WorldPackers came out. Like, people started coming out like, hey bro, what you're doing is crazy, man.
Yeah.
So you have to try this, do this, and they recommended two things. One thing is WorldPackers, and the other thing is Dhamma.org, which is kind of, they don't say they're Buddhist, but they are Buddhist, and it's a Buddhist organization where
That's cool.
they teach you Vipassana, which is the
way of the Buddha.
meditation that got Buddha to his enlightenment.
You're gonna have to tell me more about that because that's interesting. Actually, that's a broader conversation, I think.
Yeah.
But okay, were you always just interested in the religious aspects of Buddhism, or is it just kind of you, like you said, a surprise, and suddenly you're there learning how to meditate and not lucid dream?
Well, let's say lucid dreaming got me into meditation. Meditation got me into being tired of my job. Being tired of my job got me into buying the ticket. Buying the ticket got me into Dhamma.org and WorldPackers, which is subsequently what got me here, along with loving horses my whole life. My dad's a horse veterinarian. I've been around them, so I was like, hey, if I'm going somewhere, it's a place with horses. And that's how I ended up here.
Interesting. I'm going to ask you one more question, then skip to the next contestant.
Yes.
But with lucid dreaming, what is the extent that you've been able to lucid dream? Have you been able to like control your dreams and kind of become the main character in them and do what you want, or how have you done that?
Well, it's a whole range, but yes, like the short answer is I've been able to change the environment. I've been able to travel, to change dreams, to make experiments like one that's a lot of books talk about it, is like looking to your hands, and then it gets really interesting to look at your hands. But I mean, yeah, once you're there and you manage to get a little stability on the dream, it can get really interesting the extent you can do it.
Yeah, it's actually I had a friend, Spencer, shout out Spencer. When we did mushrooms the first time, like heavy mushrooms, he said, when you look at your hands, that's when you will have a different feeling with them, because that's when you'll kind of feel alien in your own body. And so is that similar to how that feels, to where you kind of wake up and you feel a little like, oh, this is interesting, or does that just allow you to then realize you're in the dream? Is that what that is?
No, you realize you're in the dream because of other stuff, like crazy things happening. I don't know, rat flying. You are flying yourself, and you're like, why am I flying? Oh, I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
And then you turn and see your hands, and a lot of things can happen. It can be that your hands aren't your hands. It can be that your hands are just energy. It can be like, it depends on each dreamer.
It's interesting.
For me, the first time I did it, which is very recent, because it's hard first to be lucid and then to remember to look at them, was that I saw like fractals on my hands, and my hands were like 1,000 hands, and then when I focused on one hand on the fractal, it got another fractal, and it got me like into a whole trip of hands,
Kind of
and
like
that got
Doctor
me
Strange?
out of lucid dreaming.
Interesting. Huh. This is the multiverse of madness. But this also, we're not sponsored by Dr. Pepper. I apologize, Dr. Pepper, and this pizza, and Marvel and the cinematic universe for bringing your names into this. But if you get mad about it, you can kindly fuck off. From there,
What about you?
oh, how did I end up here?
Yes.
That's a good question. So I've been traveling across really North America for my entire life, but I managed the day-to-day operations of a North American railroad channel for a communications company, Icon. Shout out Icon. And I loved the job, loved the company. But after 2 or 3 years, just similar to you, Cesar, where I got to the point of you're traveling so much for somebody else and you're building somebody else's brand, and my brain's always kind of been broken in a way that I don't necessarily, working for other people is fine when you're learning skills and everything, but I've never intended to work my entire life for somebody else. And I've always kind of known I would do something like travel the world in my soul. Just since I was a little kid, I knew I'd be gone for 2 years from America, go have my Batman moments places, and then come back and then just be cool. And so it got to the point about 2 years ago where, I told a joke to people about it, but I kind of realized if you don't do this and you don't set this goal for 2024 to go just kind of start it, then you're going to wake up when you're 80 and you're going to have lived a great life. You'll be in a nice house. You'll have your family all around you, and that'll be great. But you'll have this one regret in your head, and because the way my brain is broken, there'd be a shotgun in the corner, and I'd take that shotgun, and then it'd be the end of Greco, because I didn't get to really do the couple things that I wanted to go do. And that, as much as I loved that corporate life and I loved everything about it, it was a path that it would end up feeding the worst parts of me, and I can't allow that to happen. So I had to follow that kid. And that's the cool thing about Australia that I learned is, you know what, and everybody always tells you these types of things, but it's an interesting thing to learn it again as an adult, and it's don't do anything that doesn't make childhood you happy. Now, if it disappoints you, if it's something that, don't do anything that doesn't make childhood you happy or proud. And that's important, because if it's something that kid you would look at and be like, you're a disgusting human, you probably shouldn't be doing it. And so and that's not something that job did, because I was happy with everything I did. I loved the position. I loved the people I worked with, loved the people I got to go and interact with, but it just wasn't Grego. So not something I was able to do. Basically August 16th, to answer the short abridged version of that, I went to Hawaii for like 2 weeks, and I was supposed to be there for a month, but after being there for 2 weeks, I realized you've been to Hawaii. Like, you don't need to stay out and hang out in Hawaii. Shout out Hawaii Electric. Thank you for allowing me to come and see you for like 3 years in a row. So I then came to Japan, and after being in Japan for like 3 days, I realized that flights and I should not have done this, because now I'm going to be broke when I get to Africa, but that happens. And so I realized that it's only like a $400 flight from Tokyo to Australia. And Man from Snowy River has always been one of my favorite movies as a kid growing up. My mother and I were able to really bond over that film. And so I kind of said, hey, might as well go. And so I just that was the one thing so far on the trip that wasn't planned. And I'm generally a wing it, not a wing. I used to be a wing it guy before the job. And so now I'm just trying to find that person a little bit again, but also keep the planner that they helped train in me, because that planner is important. When you're traveling for 2 years, it's important. And so I went to Australia, got to go meet the people that kind of produced and were, like, again, that horse master for the Man from Snowy River. I've already said that 3 times while I was here, because I've been so proud of that moment. And it was just, really a great experience. And then went to Tokyo. Went back to actually Osaka, was in Osaka for like 2.5 weeks, explored Japan a little bit, and then now here. And I think last year in Scotland, somebody told me about WorldPackers and then Woofing and a couple other places. And I was like, oh, so you're telling me I don't have to spend money every night while I'm traveling? I can do this for free. So it was a neat experience, and I'm glad that's here. And then after this, I'll go to Thailand and I'll do Muay Thai for a while, and then get on a bicycle and just take me wherever the world takes me. So it'll be cool.
Interesting, really interesting.
You actually helped me there, because I've been meaning to do a solo podcast, kind of explaining that, but I've been lazy as fuck, and so. There we go. I appreciate it. So from there, before you ended up here in South Korea, what does a day in the life in the Netherlands look like for you? Is it just kind of going to school? What is it?
Well, that needs a little bit of background story, because I finished my high school, but I finished it during the COVID period. So I had to start a college, university immediately after, because I couldn't travel. I wanted to take a break, because high school took a toll on me. It was a lot of energy for me. but I couldn't. So I went directly to school and I studied animal care and management. But first year I was already like, okay, I don't think I can continue this whole thing. It was only 2 years, but first year I was like, But because it was a lot of animal care, I was like, okay, I can continue to next year.
Mm-hmm.
Next year I would start with a internship. So I had an internship in Indonesia. Amazing time. I would do it again. But after I came back, it was a lot of management. And I was already not feeling good. And I wouldn't say I went into depression, but I was very close. And I was like, no, I have to stop.
Yeah.
COVID was over. So I also stopped my school. But I was in a place I was like, it's not a good choice to be alone right now. So I chose to look into therapy. And I've been working on myself, earning money in the meantime. So a year later, I was like, okay, I can go traveling. So first, and also to find what do I want to study then? Because I also thought like, I like animals, but it's too broad. I like to be more specific and more hands-on. And if you go to a zoo, you cannot be hands-on with an animal, even though you want to.
Yeah. I tried to do that when I was in the Osaka Zoo. It's a Tennoji Zoo, and I got yelled at because I climbed inside the goat enclosure, and I got told not to do that. No, I didn't do that. That would be fun though. But yeah. So you said you went to Indonesia or the Philippines? Philippines. I'm sorry, I'm down.
No more.
Yeah.
No, so I did an internship in Indonesia.
Yeah.
On a wildlife rescue center.
It's interesting.
It was amazing.
What kind of animals were you rescuing?
Well, at that moment there were no rescues, but I took care of enclosures and food of crocodiles, birds, monkeys, but there was also a snake or turtles, like toads, everything. So there's not specific one.
Did you have a favorite animal while you were there working?
I forgot the name of the bird, but
Can't be your favorite then. Yeah.
I'm horrible with names, okay?
Yeah.
But it was a very specific breed that's there were, I believe, only 2 in captivity, and it was just magnificent, big, and I couldn't see it a lot, unfortunately, because it was close to letting free, so they don't let people interact a lot. But it was a big bird. Yeah. So, but it really got me interested, like wildlife, rescuing. I like it, especially in an Asian country where animal welfare is a bit less than European.
Yeah.
And they it too. But
we have a begging dog over there if you can't see. Yeah.
I don't think
She looked away from the camera because you can't be begging.
Yeah. And
Yeah. Do you think eventually though, maybe because you loved animal rescue and you love kind of the horse aspect of working with horses that you've discovered here, do you think maybe there's a bit of that in the future, or still kind of unsure?
I was indeed coming here to discover that, and I like working with horses, but I recognized by myself that I really like behavior, and for me it really is now, am I going into dog training, dog behavior, or horse behavior and training? And because I recently got a little pup.
A gorgeous dog. We will get a picture of the dog. Oh, this is what happens when you have an iPhone and that's all you have to film your podcast. There we go. Also, if the audio quality is horrible, blame Cesar. He didn't buy me any good mics yet, so I blame him.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
The first podcast, the audio quality. Occasionally, you heard like doors closing and beer glasses just smashing. So happens, but we'll get there. But yeah, so. Rescue dogs?
Probably, but I will first go into dog training.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in that, and I can work with him in the meantime. and then I will see where it goes.
Yeah, makes sense. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So it's a 1-year plan for now.
It's a good 1-year plan. I found on this trip that there's a lot of people, which I was one of these people, and I kind of forgot that they existed, and I'm glad it's coming into my mind. And they don't plan more than like 2 days ahead or like a day ahead. And to me, that's because of the job that I had to plan 6-7 months in advance of doing things just every single day. So it's wild. It's just an interesting little,
For me, it's so scary to not know my future.
Yeah.
So for the past month, I didn't know what I was going to do when I came home.
Yeah.
I was like, that is so scary. I don't want to be a couch potato.
It's interesting. I think with my upbringing, I have a bit of, grew up, grandpa's a preacher, and so there's a bit of just trust in the process, trust in the Lord, and then whatever happens will work out. So there's a bit of that in me, but there's a bit of, you have to meet the process halfway. And so that's, or 3/4 of the way, otherwise the process is going to laugh at you and put you in the dirt. It's kind of what I've slowly learned, which is boring. Winging it's much more fun. So if you can wing it out there, wing it. Okay. Same question, but what as a kid, you loved horses, and what made you kind of decide, what did you do as a kid? Actually, better question. What's childhood like here in South Korea? Because I have no idea.
South, eh?
Yeah, while you're in Korea, what was your childhood like? Like when you were a kid, what was it like?
Dog.
Just lots of dogs, lots of playing with them.
When a kid, a child,
Uh-huh.
how is life? How is school? How is home?
School or home?
Yeah.
Normal student.
Yeah.
Actually, normal student in Korea. Always school, study, homework, sleep, home and school. Always study.
Gotcha. Interesting. And so with that do you like the normal upbringing? Like, is that something that is good?
Actually, I'm not normal, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't like study, so I always play with friends.
Yeah.
Play sports or someone 노래방 karaoke. Karaoke.
Karaoke is big here. Everybody loves karaoke. Even if you can't, that's what I kind of respect about karaoke in Asia and in Korea. As the ferry I was on, everybody was doing a little Korean like karaoke, and it doesn't matter if you can sing or not. They just belt it out, and they love karaoke here. That's impressive. What's your favorite song to sing?
Favorite song. So all the song. IU. Do you know IU singer?
Sing a little bit. I don't know.
무릎.
Okay.
Mean English knee.
Okay.
Song
is very, very famous K-pop idol.
Okay.
Beautiful, and she's amazing.
Okay. Well, that tells you how much I know about foreign culture. Much of nothing. Interesting. Okay. That makes sense. So you like to play, and that's kind of interesting that you chose to play with, and that kind of now play with animals as you grow up because you like to play. So now you get to play with animals as a job. So that's cool. Makes sense. Mr. Cesar, I called you Caesar again, like a freaking whitey. That was really rude of me. It happens. But
It's okay, you can call me Caesar.
I know. But what does a childhood look like? And you said you're from Mexico City, but actually no, he did not say that. I said that to the crowd. But so you're from Mexico City, but we're at Mexico City specific, and how was that?
Yeah, well, I was born in Mexico City, and then from 4 years old until 19, I lived in Cuernavaca, which is a 45-minute drive from Mexico City.
Mm-hmm. How many people are in that town?
Like 600 to 1 million, so it's a small town. But
Yeah, 600,000 to 1 million is a small town.
well, for Mexican standards,
Yes, yes. Really for
It
the
is.
world, yeah.
And when you're so close to Mexico City, which is broadly 24 million.
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah, exactly. It can feel small, and it feels small. And how was growing up? Well, growing up was beautiful. We had freedom. We had Cuernavaca is called the city of the eternal spring.
Mm-hmm.
It has a beautiful climate. It's hot all year. It's fruit everywhere. Like my granddad's house has 7 or 8 mango trees that give hundreds of mangoes each season. So it's a rich city in that sense, and we have the safety to go by bike to every place, like I told you, no? And that was maybe from 4 or 5 years old until 15, and then it all changed when the war on drugs started.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, well, it wasn't that fun anymore, you know, like from being outside all the time and having the freedom of doing everything you wanted at the time you wanted and going back home at night or whatever, it turned into you cannot go anywhere, you're always at risk, you have to be very careful to who's your friend, who you're talking to, who you're going out with, and that kind of, well,
turned into a war zone
kind of a war zone thing. I mean, maybe it's too harsh because we still did a lot of partying, we drank a lot,
had fun.
You know, exactly, we had fun as youngsters, but not at clubs, not at bars. It was all local home parties with the people you know from school and from maybe friends of friends, but not more than that.
Probably built a pretty interesting tight community though with the friends that you have, and in a different way.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yes, and also in Mexico we have a saying that's "Pueblo chico, infierno grande," which translates to small town, big hell, or something like that. Because obviously, when you're living in a small town, there's gossip, there's all kinds of stuff that meddle into the peace that could exist in that place. And when you have a war zone like town, then I don't know. I mean,
Small town becomes smaller, right?
Yes, but it could have been more fun if it was a little more free.
That's why you're walking around the world, I suppose.
Yeah, well.
Or traveling the world. Traveling.
Well, no. I've walked it, bro. Like since I left home, I've walked miles.
Love it. Yeah.
So,
that's cool. Well, from there, we're going to ask a little bit of what makes each of you happy. And we're going to wrap up this episode. This one is a 28-minute episode. Wow. See, it doesn't feel like 28 minutes when you're just chit-chatting. We're going to start this a little differently. We're going to go backwards to forwards rather than just in the circle. So what, Cesar, makes you happy?
Going real deep right now.
I know. Oof. Well, I will start.
Actually, 2 parts to this question. I'm going to change the question. What makes you happy? And if you had to give any advice to anybody else to be happy, what would it be?
Okay. Then, first part of the question is food makes me very happy. Also, seeing that people and beings, I'm gonna say, are free of suffering, which is kind of a Buddhist way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
It also brings me happiness, like to see people living to the fullest, which is something that hasn't happened a lot lately.
Yeah.
And what else? Video games. I love video games.
What game? What's the main game? Just gotta pick one.
Okay, Valorant is my.
I have no fucking clue what that is.
It's a shooter, hardcore, toxic community.
I love it. Yeah. I miss the days of like the 2006, really probably early 2000s to about 2013, 2014, even probably into 2015 a bit, where you could be just toxic as hell in those lobbies, because that's when just kids got bullied and you couldn't get punched in the face anymore, so you might as well get put in your place online. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess that creates problems, but whatever.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But okay. Ooh, we got cut off. The Matrix is what they call it these days. Decided we were talking about happiness too much. So from what makes you happy to being toxic in video games lobbies, which we're not going to talk about it. Actually, he started saying slurs of what he likes to call people in the lobbies, and it cut off. But so from what makes you happy, if you had advice to give other people, what would that advice be?
Okay, yeah, being cut off kind of meddled with me, but I'm gonna put
It was really
maybe in a
beautiful.
few-
It was fucking gorgeous what he said.
in fewer words, it's just when whatever you're doing, focus on the thing that you're doing and on making that thing that you're doing the thing that makes you happy. You know, like I mean, it's just being cut off, but I was putting the example of the horses. When I'm working with horses, and I know that I'm working more than I should, that that there's people that should be working alongside me and they're not doing it. I don't know. I could focus on that and just fixate on, oh, these people, they're not helping me, and oh, whatever, and that would take me to a dark place. But then instead, what I do is just focus on the nice part of what I'm doing, which is I have beautiful animals around me. Some of them are trying to bite me. Some of them are just snuggling and their noses are here all the time. And some of them don't give a fuck about me.
Yeah.
You know, but the beautiful part is that I'm working with animals. Nevertheless, it's not important that I'm working more than I should or not. The fact is that I'm working with animals.
You're doing what you're doing.
And then if you put me on other subject, which is like maybe working in Iwanai, the first WorldPacker experience I had, it was mainly painting a hotel 3 stories high, getting into a ladder that's not the safest place to be.
Not regulated, yeah.
Exactly, not regulated work,
Yeah.
not being paid for, you know, like a lot of things you could fixate on them. But instead of that, I was like, you know what? It's a challenge, and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I have a month to finish this whole building. I'm gonna do it. So I just got into the ladder, pick up my painted, and started looking at the beautiful part of it, which is getting the job done.
Yeah.
And that got me to another part that I didn't even see coming, which is gratefulness. The people I helped were like, man, you're a fucking hero. You really helped us. Thank you for not stopping. People around me were also like other volunteers at the beginning. They were like, oh, how I'm gonna do that, and it's a lot of work and whatever. At the end of being around, they were really also trying to work and trying to be fast, because we were in this mindset of it's a challenge, it's fun, you can make it fun. You can suffer or you can make it fun.
And we're going to do it together well, or we're going to do it together miserably.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and before we got cut off horribly, we went into this whole, like, that was really a bad timing of that cut off. We were so beautiful. That was also a beautiful answer with that. It's the life is what you make it. And I'm not going to go into everything I said earlier with it, because it was a poetic, correct moment. But it was life is what you make it. And it sounds like you've done a good job of just being that optimism. And whenever if you decide to be drama and that's what you bring to the table, then that's what the table will be. So be optimism, and then that's what your pie will be.
I will just close by saying that
Literal pie.
this advice that I'm saying and that I'm giving, I've just started following it. Like right before I got out of my job and right before I was not in that place, I was thinking the whole other way. I was thinking the world was out to get me. Why isn't things going good for me? But then when I started changing the mindset, everything lighted up. So really try it.
Yeah.
At first, like fake it till you make it, and you'll see that it gives results.
No, I agree. It's easy to know things, but it's hard to implement the things you know. So that's And about fake it till you make it, I had a fun fact. A high school baseball coach. We sucked. We were horrible. This guy told us, listen, you guys suck anyway, so if you do steroids, you're gonna have to fake it till you make it, and actually hit the ball. But when you hit the ball, and like you guys are doing now, at least it'll go further. So please do steroids. So he was encouraging us to do steroids with that phrase. So whenever anybody says fake it till you make it, think you, Coach Sarter. I really do. Thanks.
Do steroids.
Yeah. I'm calling him out because he was a douchebag. He really was. He was rude to everybody. Good guy. Anyway, I'm gonna keep that in because again, douchebag. But what makes you happy?
Same. Game, music,
Yeah.
and animal.
Yeah. Games, music, and animals. That's all you need, really. Yeah. And if you had to give advice to somebody to be happy, what would you say?
Okay, I don't understand.
Like,
I cannot.
so yeah, if you were to tell me,
Uh-huh.
be happy, what would you tell me?
Enjoy
Yeah,
your life. Pain, happy, almost.
Love it.
whatever it is, yeah, enjoy it because it's all going to happen. So you might as well, yeah, enjoy the ride. Huh. Thank you. Yeah. Well,
My turn. I think I will give my advice first
Okay.
because I can continue with hers. Because indeed, emotions are beautiful. You can feel them, and it's okay to cry. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to be happy. Yeah, that is something I'm still struggling with myself. But I think that I find emotions or human beings quite fascinating. And I will continue with advice because with advice, wow, if somebody gives you advice, you can choose yourself if you take it or not.
mm-hmm.
You can still be grateful because that person cares for you.
Yeah.
So it gives advice. You say, okay, thank you. I'll think about it. You don't have to take it. You don't have to forcefully take it and show it. No. You can think, okay, I will take this or not.
Yeah.
Fine.
Sometimes it takes a couple days of chewing on that cud to let it sink in, or tell them, that was the stupidest thing I ever heard. So yeah, it just depends. Yeah.
Yeah, the truth. So it's totally fine. You don't have to fake it to
Yeah.
make other people happy.
Yeah, you don't need. You pay for the terabytes of storage, and it doesn't allow you to have terabytes of storage. So that's
Shame on you, Apple.
shame. I mean, you're really taking a bite out of the apple side. That's apple. But anyway, so to answer the question, gotcha. That's what you would advise other people. And what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Well, animals. They for sure give me a lot of happiness. And I think, if I keep it deep, other people's happiness.
Yeah.
If I'm walking with my dog and someone smiles at my dog, it makes me happy. If I see this, or you don't see it, but
One moment.
He's petting a dog and his smile is so big. That makes me happy. Or someone else having the time of their lives and I'm just sitting in a corner, I am completely fine. I
Yeah.
don't like parties, but I like to see everyone being high or being drunk or anything. I don't do it, but I like to see other people. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And being high is pretty fucking great. It really.
I don't know.
Yeah, love it.
I've never been.
Dutch that doesn't get high. That's weird.
Yes.
I respect it. Do you drink?
No.
Okay, yeah.
I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't do anything.
You could probably lead armies to that because there's a lot of people that would look for that in equality for general. But anyway, cool. Well, thank you all for really kind of taking the time to have. This is the first meal that we've had together. Fun fact: I got here 4 hours ago, and they've been just generous enough to kind of allow me to intrude on their personal space and then record this. So, thank every one of you, and yeah, that's all she wrote. Bye.
Bye.